Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a big Monday edition of the JP Peterson Show. We got lots to get to today. It was a big weekend in sports, as always. We've got, of course, the obligatory Caitlin Clark controversy to get to. It seems to happen every day now. We're going to be doing this. An absolutely incredible finish to the U.S. Open. Oh, my God. Rory McIlroy. I wouldn't have gone to the press tent either, buddy. Get the hell out of there. We'll get to that. The Rays, boy, did Jose Siri save their ass yesterday. Oh, my God. It was a bad enough weekend, heading for the worst weekend ever. So we'll talk about the Braves and the Rays, and we're going to talk about why these two franchises are so incredibly different. So close, similar media markets, but two incredibly different approaches to the game. Why is that? We will discuss that as well. There's so much to get to. Well, good morning to you, Nick Geddes from On3 Sports. How was your weekend?
I had a fantastic weekend. I hope you did as well, celebrating a Father's Day. I know you were at the Titus O'Neil event yesterday. Looked very fun.
So cool, yeah. Ronde was there. A lot of folks. Chad Chronister was there. A lot of folks supporting what was an incredible event. What I was a little pissed off at, frankly, was that more people did not show up to support Titus. I mean, what more do you people want? He literally free food, free ice cream bars, like all kinds of giveaways, free T-shirt, free hat. It wasn't just like crap food too. It was like these awesome food trucks. Like, the grilled cheese guy on the Texas toast, unbelievable, with the great crinkle fries. Just giving it out for free on Father's Day. Pork sandwiches, sausage sandwiches, like great food for free, everything for free. And it was a few thousand turned out. The place should have been packed, but it's the first year of the event. It will grow, but he did a hell of a job, put on a hell of a show. Everything was just first class, of course, always with Titus. But next year we need a lot more support from you people. Come on. Stop. And it was amazing. Like, what else you want to do? Hang out with your kids and that bounce houses and all kinds of cool stuff for the kids to run through and play different games with their kids. And it was amazing. Super fun out at the amp. The weather was like really nice. It wasn't even hot in the morning. So anyway, he did a fantastic job, but we definitely want to cook it up next year and get more people out there to really celebrate dads. He did a really cool inspirational speech. They were kind of holding the dads off to the side. They kind of split everybody up and then brought them out front. And but in the where kind of the holding areas with the VIP area where the at the amp, and then Titus walked in and just kind of got up on a chair and just spoke to all the dads. And did a really incredible prayer and prayed over all the dads. It was super, super fun and really, really well done. And we just want to help really, really grow that event into something really, really special. He did a tremendous job. And thanks to all the sponsors, TGH, who did a great job too. So, yeah, had a good – then went and played a little golf at Palma Sia. Won a little cash from the boys. Almost got neutered by my playing partner. Full hosel rocket. I was standing about 15 yards away off to the right, and he will remain nameless. But with not for my Vassy-like, cat-like reflexes, I may be a eunuch today because it was coming right at the junk, and I had to jump out of the way. It's one of those where it comes off, and you're like, "Oh, I can't. I'm toast. I'm freaking toast." And somehow I moved out of the way. Somehow, I think it nicked my shorts. But anyway, it was a great weekend, and hope you guys had a good one too. Happy Father's Day. Nick got the new.
Best dad by par.
Yeah, I like that. That's a nice one.
It fits you. It fits you very appropriately.
Right. All right. So,
Even I, by the way, I got Father's Day gifts yesterday, and I'm like, the furthest thing from a father. But I've been told that I count because I'm a dog dad. I don't count that. Those
you're
don't
right.
count to me.
You're right. They're wrong.
I am right. They're wrong. But you know what?
You can't treat your dogs like your children. Sorry.
No. And somehow though, I walked out. I
Not
walked
fair.
out of Father's Day though with a nice polo.
What?
Not even. I thought they were going to be gifts for like the dog, but they were actually like literally for me.
Yeah.
I was like, thank you, but I'm not a dad. Not right now.
Well, yeah, you'll be hopefully soon. Hopefully you get the joys of fatherhood. Yeah, talk to my two faraway children who I saw a couple weeks ago. Kind of my Father's Day gift there. So talked to them and then spent the day with my stepkids. Really, really cool. It's great. It's great being a dad. It is the most amazing thing I've ever experienced in my life, and I've done some pretty cool stuff. But being a dad is by far and away the best part of it. Making a difference in kids' lives. And as we said last week, and I firmly believe this, and this is not misogynistic, dads make the most difference in children's lives. You need both mom and a dad, but a dad has to step up and provide and be the rock. And not that moms can't do it. I'm not saying that. I'm mad respect for single moms that did get that done. They do a hell of a job. My mom was one. Your mom. I mean, that's not what I'm saying at all. It's so much better when dads do their job. Do your job. Stay in the house. Be with your kids. Support your children. Make those sacrifices. You produce them. Live up to it. Get it done. And it makes a difference. And it makes a huge, huge difference in kids' lives. So it's the greatest joy you'll ever experience. Hopefully, Nick. All right. So where do you want to start? You want to start with the U.S. Open? You want to start with the Rays? Where do you want to do? Your choice today. Where do you guys want to start?
I don't know. I got to be honest. I think we have plenty of time to get to the Rays. I kind of want to start with the U.S. Open because just in terms of the entertainment factor, not saying the Rays yesterday did not put on an entertaining display, which I did not see coming. But the U.S. Open, incredibly difficult conditions, as we always know it is in the U.S. Open, especially at Pinehurst. But
unbelievable.
The ending to that, I would say the final 7, 8 holes there on the back nine of two of golf's greats right now.
Yeah.
Two very different personalities clashing. I mean, how are you not glued to the television yesterday during that? I mean, I know I was.
That was a hell of a show put on. And Bryson DeChambeau starts the day with a 3-shot lead. Rory runs him down. And Rory's just playing tremendous golf. And you're like, okay, first time in 10 years, he's going to finally win another major. This is it. This is his time. And then at 16, I mean, you can't say anything more than that's a choke. That's a choke. I think the number was he had made 496 straight putts from 3 feet or less. 496 in a row. And then you miss one at 16 like that. That one, the one on 18, I can give him because that was a nasty, nasty slider. Nasty slider. That thing broke probably 8 inches, and that was a 3-footer. That was a 2-3 footer, maybe a little bit over 3 feet. So that one, you still got to drill it. I mean, you're going to win the U.S. Open. You got to at least be in a playoff. You got to drill that. He got a little bit of a bad break on the, but that's why you got to hit the fairways, man. That's the thing at Pinehurst. You got to hit the fairways, or you're taking a huge chance on what kind of lie you're going to get. Now, most of these, I was amazed all week at how these guys were hitting shots close to the pin from that natural area. I mean, I was amazed how good these guys were from that sand. But that one he could not and then freaking DeChambeau hits a nasty smother hook. I mean, I'm like, oh, on 18. I'm like, that looked familiar. I've seen that one before. And I was like, holy, and he had just been pounding the driver. And then he gets a horrible lie. Unlike, us Sunday golfers who get a relief from that big tree that he was up against, a tree root or whatever it was, he's got to somehow advance that ball. And I know he was thinking of taking an unplayable lie, but he didn't. And he advances it up into the bunker in front, but now he's got a 55-yard bunker shot on a severe uphill. I'm like, where? We're going to a playoff. There's no way he's getting this close enough. And then he hits it to 4 feet. And Andy North said that was top 10 golf shot in U.S. Open history. And I'm like, yeah. That was like Fitzpatrick a couple of years ago from the fairway bunker with the lip right in front of him. Remember that one?
Yeah, that was electric 2 years ago. But yeah, just in terms of up and down, I mean, it's one of the greatest up and downs I've ever seen, especially with the context added to it. It really was incredible. But when it comes to Rory, it's crazy. Like, he played 1 under yesterday, and DeChambeau played 1 over.
Yeah.
So he was 2 shots better than DeChambeau yesterday. And it's still, though, it's always defined with Rory. Like, I saw, like, they were flashing it throughout the entire tournament, or yesterday, rather, that since 2015, he's like 47 or 46 under on the final day of majors since 2015. And, like, the closest to him is like 20 shots behind him.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy that we have a decade here of this guy getting so close and right there on the brink of winning a major. And yesterday was just so fitting for what it's been for the last decade of his career. And it's like, you want to say, okay, eventually the law of averages are going to work in his favor. And if he keeps putting himself in these positions, he's going to get that major. But man, it's like, how does he break your heart like this? By getting 3 bogeys in the last 5 holes at the time. And in DeChambeau, by the way, it wasn't like DeChambeau, like I just said, he played 1 over. It really was, stretches of bad golf by the 2 leaders there at the end. And it was like, it was so bad, it was good. You couldn't stop looking away.
It wasn't dramatic.
It was dramatic. DeChambeau couldn't hit a fairway all day. I mean, all day, DeChambeau could not hit a fairway. His drives were so wild, but his ability to just kind of scramble, and that's kind of what you have to do at these U.S. Open courses.
That course especially,
is you kind of have to manage it. You really just have to manage it. But to make that shot there from that bunker in that moment, I mean, you want to talk about rising to the moment, and then on the other side, McIlroy not doing it. It was right there for you. And that the groan of the crowd when Rory missed that putt, I mean, that summed it all up. It was gut wrenching. And then the video of him, filling out his scoring card and just waiting there and waiting, hoping that Bryson misses that putt or something. And then him having to just completely walk out of there. And like you said, he didn't waste time at all.
No,
he got straight in that car and he drove away. I don't blame him.
Yeah. What do you say there? You're just going up to be
right. And that's what I was going to say. Like, I know, like, we're in media and everything, and we know how it goes. And sometimes we feel like we have this entitlement, like, okay, you need to speak to us and you need to face the music, win or lose. And in certain situations, I understand that. But given the context of the situation as everything we just laid out, I think before Rory's probably just been like, oh man, I just can't get it done. Yesterday, I looked at his facial reactions. I saw a guy who was actually angry for the first time that he just could not get it done. And I don't think there was anything he was going to give you there if he spoke to the media that would have satisfied anybody. I think it was best for him probably to just remove himself from that situation and get out of there.
Well, I could say this, Rory McIlroy has not had the most peaceful of home lives in the past month, obviously. Filing for divorce, reneging on the filing for divorce. There's a lot of shiz going on behind the scenes. And I don't pretend to know what the hell it is. But I know this. It breaks the biggest of men. See Tom Brady. It breaks the biggest of men. And I couldn't help but think, coming down the stretch, like, if for everything that's going on, and I'm like, this is a hell of a performance by Rory to put all that in the back seat, all that baggage you got, just keep it in the back compartment while you're doing what you're doing here at the U.S. Open. I'm like, I'm adding this context to it, going, this is incredible for him to be able to calm his mind and be in this moment at that time and play as well as he's playing, like this is going to be one of the, I mean, talk about winning a major. This is the storyline I got going. Like, because to me, it's always been with you, especially in the game of golf. I think the game of golf more than any sport there is, because it's such a mental game. Look at Tiger Woods. Took down Tiger Woods. His personal life took him down. It was never his golf. It was his personal life.
Right.
And then what happened? You can only keep, it's like, wow, you can only keep it at bay for so long. I'm not saying all that made him miss a 3-footer, but yeah, all that made him miss a 496 straight. The pressure eventually gets to that point where everything is going through your mind, and only the greats can calm it and knock it in. And that's, and what DeChambeau did in his moment was incredible. That shot, I mean, I just, they're setting up the shot, and the announcers are like, this is a tough one. I don't know what. And like, you have to figure, like, I don't even know how you play that shot.
No,
like I don't know. You square up, a little bit, because he has to come over that tuft of grass, right? Over this huge lip. He's got a bit on the upslope, so that helps a little bit. But then you have to judge your distance, and then the spin on the ball. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, for Mr. Computation there, I don't even know how you compute that. I don't get it.
No, that's why he's world class. And the other part of that, watching it in DeChambeau, we talked about this during the PGA when the crowd was on his side there, at Valhalla last month, and it was like everybody was talking about, man, this is such a comeback for DeChambeau, and just such a difference in the way he was viewed by the crowd, 4, 5, 6 years ago, and the way he's viewed now. And it was the same thing yesterday. You heard it. That crowd was completely, even though I think there probably was people that wanted to see Rory win. And like I said, there was a big gasp when he missed that putt. Right after he missed that putt, you know what there was? There was a USA chant.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing when Bryson was walking up to hit his final putt. There was like this USA chant. So he still had, I think, the majority of that crowd pushing for him, which again, 4, 5, 6 years ago, you would have never imagined. And this is the guy who went to live golf and quote unquote turned his back on the PGA Tour and all this stuff. And yet he's found himself to be so much more likable. And I think the reason is he plays the game of golf like with a lot of emotion, and he puts it all out there, good, bad, and different. He connects with the crowd. You saw that all weekend. He has this special sort of connection with the crowd that I think a lot of golfers struggle with. If there's one,
and it hasn't always been that way. He was the,
that's what I'm saying.
For a long time.
There's such a big difference in his demeanor now than what it was years ago. But yeah, I think that's a blind spot for a lot of golfers, is they struggle to really connect with the crowd and relate to them and everything. And Bryson, I think, has found a way to do that. You look at the emotion he had whenever he put the putt in, and then I heard that he took the U.S. Open trophy and he was, just running around with it with the fans and everything. And I already heard it. The golf purists all have an upset, gatekeeping nature of it. Of this is a gentleman's sport, and this is we're supposed to be sophisticated and all this stuff. Forget all that. Golf always needs superstars, and I'm here to tell you that Bryson DeChambeau has turned himself into quite the needle mover, in my opinion. And it upsets me. We only get to see it 4 times a year. It only amplifies the fact that they need to fix something to get this guy back on our TV screens every single week. But regardless, when it comes to the majors, this guy has answered the call this year. 6 at the Masters, 2nd in the PGA, and now he wins the U.S. Open for the 2nd time.
Yeah, and just as a subtext, the Scotty Scheffler collapse this for the past couple of weeks is just really mind-blowing. It's
so
really
weird not seeing him at the top of the leaderboard in a major.
And just the way he's playing, really, really weird. Like, again, off this, has a new baby, the arrest.
Remember, he just won, though, coming into the
I know.
to the U.S. Open. But listen, that course humbled a lot of great players this week. I think it was Tiger who said going into Thursday in round 1, he was like, whatever the high score is after round 1, that's going to be the score that wins the tournament at the end of the day. And that's what it was. The leader after round 1, I think, was at 6 under.
Yes.
And that's exactly what it took for DeChambeau to win.
You're right. And he was right. Yeah. What a tough golf course. And I love, honestly, I love to see it. I know
11 guys over or even or better, I believe. Only 11 guys. And I prefer that. You get like the PGA where we had a 22 under that wins the tournament. Like to
No.
me, like if you're like a casual golf fan and you just want to see guys just hitting world-class shots and all those things, cool. But I think there's something to the US Open. It brings a struggle. It forces these players to really think outside the box.
Mhm.
And if you're a golf purist, I think you sort of enjoy that.
I did. Tony Finau had that, I think it was 13 where he had a 7, cost him the tournament.
Yep.
A couple guys, I think Oberg had one as well on 13 where they're just, there's some perverse enjoyment for me watching guys, have the ball go up, come back to their feet, then blade it over the green into the bunker and then hit it back over down to where you were 3 shots ago. Like, yeah. How you feeling now, boys? Just like me every Sunday in Palma Sia. Get you some of that. But that I like seeing a little bit of that. So there's so many things going through their head. That was a fabulous day of golf, no question about it. I thoroughly enjoyed the whole weekend. By the way, another shout out to Jackson Suber. Did not have a great weekend, but made the cut. Right. And ahead of a lot of big time golfers that did not make the cut. That was one hell of a performance. I think he was so wound up. It was a relief on the weekend. Probably didn't have the focus that he had the first couple of days, or was just mentally freaking exhausted. But to make the cut at Pinehurst number 2 on that weekend when so many great golfers did not is an amazing accomplishment. And hopefully that will give him a lot of confidence moving forward in his game, because that kid is uber talented.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Jackson Suber from Palma Sia and Plant High School. He is uber talented. And that was a huge weekend for him.
And you want to know the other thing that's kind of interesting, and this has been like a footnote in the whole tournament headlines is Tiger Woods. I mean, he missed the cut. All things considered, like he was right on the cut line, I believe. So it wasn't like he had a disastrous tournament necessarily. I think he was 7 over. But I believe now he's no longer exempt.
No, he's not. He got a special
the US Open
to get in. Yeah.
Right. And so I think he even said after, like, this could be my last one.
Yeah.
Now I think we both know if Tiger Woods wants an exemption, he's going to get that exemption no matter what.
Every single time.
It is interesting. Like, I don't know, as a guy who
every time
obviously
they play it at Pebble, he's going to play.
Right. But it is interesting. It's like, we used to show up to these events and talk so much about Tiger, and this year, not really as much, because we just know deep down he doesn't have a shot at winning. And as a guy who's watched a lot of Tiger Woods golf over his career, and you as well, and we've seen the best of the best and the lows of the lows, it's a little hard to watch him right now. I'm not going to lie. It just doesn't give you the same feeling. I hate the fact that he's playing in these tournaments and, like, there's nothing to talk about with him really. And then we see yesterday, it's like now we're at the point where he needs exemptions to get into these majors. It's really odd. It's really
ceremonial golf at this point.
Right. And I know all the greats have did it. I'm sure Arnold Palmer had to play, that for years, and Jack and all that, but it's kind of it's officially a turning of the page, I guess, when it comes to golf now.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's sad. It's sad because he had a lot of good years left in him. A lot of good years left in him. And one, we talk about, Dick Vitale always gives a great speech to kids about choices you make. And the choice that Tiger Woods made to drive that morning was a really, really bad one.
And you just can't come out and play 4 times a year at the highest of levels and expect. And he knows that. Course. He knows.
And I wonder just to kind of, off that, I don't know how injured John Rahm was, but he showed up, and his game has just not been there. And I wonder how much of him was like playing a couple practice rounds going, yeah, I'm pulling out. Yeah. I don't want to play this place like this. Not at full.
No, if
I
will
embarrass myself.
He probably would snap a club, like legit. Like it would get really ugly.
Yeah. I think it was obviously with Bryson winning, it's a bittersweet weekend for Live Golf. I mean, they're one of their guys won it, and he's been the only Live golfer that has shown up, I think, for the most part in these majors.
Yeah, like Koepka's had moments and stuff, but DeChambeau, at least this year, has been the most consistent.
There's 4 rounds now, and DJ is just
not even on the radar.
Disappeared. I mean, the guys that look, it's the ultimate deal with the devil, right? The ultimate deal with the devil. You got your money, but you're irrelevant. Like,
Well,
even
the only two live golfers that are of note that even performed this weekend at all were DeChambeau and then, ironically, old man Sergio Garcia.
right.
Getting a 12th place finish at 1 over, but everybody else was completely off the grid.
Yeah, it's just too much. That's too that's such a grind, and it really exposes the carnival guys. Which I hate to call them that because I wish they were all back on tour. I wish they all
just what I'm
figured this
saying. Like
stuff out.
DeChambeau, seeing DeChambeau and the crowd and the electricity he brings, the entertainment factor, where I'm like, I want to see every shot DeChambeau hits.
Yeah,
Like I hate it. Just amplifies, like I said, that we don't get to see it every single week. So you
John Rahm and
appreciate it a
Cam
little bit more
Smith,
when the
and
majors come, but you just wish they were out there more.
yeah. It's sad. All right, we're gonna chat with Matty Matera here. What time? I think I got him at 11:00, so we'll do that in a little bit. So he was out at OTAs all last week for Peter Report, so we'll chat with him about that. Let's do a little raise here before we get to the half-hour break. Yesterday was good. Well, yesterday was a good ending. Yesterday was a really, really good ending. Jose Siri comes up in the ninth after the Rays blow a 6-2 lead that they got on a Ben Rortvedt grand slam. They blow the lead, and which has been a little. Everything's been bad for the Rays. Let's just be honest. But Siri comes back and takes a low slider off the freaking deck and just puts it into the left field seats, and they get an 8-6 win over the Braves after just getting clubbed the first couple of days, especially Saturday. And Saturday was an in-your-face day. And, we see Travis d'Arnaud throwing guys out, hitting home runs, and that's their second catcher. That's the guy making $7 million, not $9 million, like Sean Murphy. The Braves payroll. You know how much it is? I had to look this up. $260 million.
Yeah,
$260 million. I mean, let me see if I can. I think if I still have this on my phone, let me go through. And here we go. Matt Olson, $22 million. Austin Riley, is he any good? Austin Riley any good? Whew. Home runs in every game this weekend, $21 million. Charlie Morton, he pitched pretty well on Saturday, didn't he? 6 innings, 1-run ball. Used to be with the Rays, $20 million. Marcell Ozuna, $16 million. Iglesias, $16 million. Max Fried, $15 million. Sean Murphy, $9 million. Joe Jimenez, $8 million. Pierce Johnson makes $7 million. I don't even know who that is. Ozzie Albies, $7 million. I could go on and on and on.
It's funny though. Of all those players you're mentioning in the price tags, it's important to note the Braves have actually not hit well this year.
Yeah, I know.
Now, what's interesting, Marcell Ozuna,
but that's a blip.
Right,
that's a little bit of a slump. Yeah.
Right. What's interesting is Marcell Ozuna actually leads in every single category in the NL: home runs, RBIs, and average. He's the Triple Crown literally right now. But all the other players you mentioned have sort of struggled this year for the Braves. Like I think there was a stat, like other than the Rays,
that's not even putting Acuna in there, by the way.
Right. But other than like the Rays and like the White Sox and some of the bottom feeders in this league, like the Braves have had some of the most trouble scoring runs over the last month. And then, of course, the first 2 games they faced the Rays, and I guess even the third game too. I mean, 6 runs is 6 runs. Like, of course, they find it when they face the Rays pitching, which has just been dreadful as of late, which is, again, an alarming sign. But, yeah, the Braves have definitely been struggling, and, of course, they woke up against the Rays and everything. To me, the story this week, and obviously the Rays couldn't hit, but the pitching, I mean, the first game on Friday was over after the first inning.
Right.
After the Rays had only had 1 at bat.
Yeah.
And they get leads and even yesterday, like they made it harder on themselves. Like they get a lead to start and they give it away immediately. Like it's just a common theme. And then they get Ben Rortvedt. Ben Rortvedt hits a grand slam, which, I mean, how could anybody try to predict that?
Yep.
Right. And they get out to a 6-2 lead and you think you're going to coast and you're going to be okay. No, it comes all the way to be tied. But Jose Siri, like you mentioned, Jose Siri has single-handedly won the Rays like 4 or 5 games over the past 2 or 3 weeks where wins have been hard to come by. Yeah. So shout out to him. He's really stepped up there at the bottom of that order for them.
Yeah, he really has. And I was trying to get him gone a few weeks ago. That's why he's obviously hot. But to the bigger question, and James, as I said earlier in the show, why are these teams so different, their approach? And James kind of nailed it. It's pretty simple. It's ownership. Braves want to win. They want to have a true partnership. Braves owner, not greedy. It's night and day. MLB must act and do something to get rid of Stu. That's them saying it, not me, by the way.
But I think everything they did with the Battery and the new stadium and all that, I think this is part of the reason why they've been able to have the ability to now spin with the Yankees and spin to an extent to the Dodgers and all that. And I think the Rays, in theory, are trying to clearly model after that. Whether it works out remains to be seen. But I think that's a big part of why the Braves are all of a sudden one of the top spending teams.
Yes. And then when they got the revenue, they put it back into the team, right? And they did the deal that was a true public-private partnership with Cobb County, where they developed the area around it, and they're using that money to win a World Series, to pay all these players. I think they're the 8th largest market. We're the 11th largest market. But the key difference there is their ownership was willing to go into that and spend money to make money. And clearly Stu in the area where the fans are. Now, had Stu done this in 2018 and 19 and already had the stadium built in Tampa and then you'd have all of these corporations buying into the premium seating and maximizing your revenue in the best location. That's why it works. But what we're following is the Miami model. Is overpay for your stadium, leverage it to the hilt, put it in a horrible area, and location-wise. Not, we love St. Pete. St. Pete's a beautiful, beautiful place, but a terrible location, terrible parking, all of that stuff, and the Battery won't work because you're just making more congestion instead of a new area, which is where they built in Cobb County. It's exactly the opposite of what the Braves have done. It seems like it's a similar template, but it's exactly the opposite. And also you had an ownership group and a that has much deeper pockets and can do the bigger development stuff with a bigger idea and bring people in and moving it to your fan base. Whereas we're doing just the opposite. You're putting it in the same spot where your fan base is not, leveraging it to the hilt. And then the Battery doesn't work because people aren't going to come there anyway. So, I mean, that's why the Braves are who they are. And that's why the Rays are who they are. And that's why the Braves will always be that way, because they'll always have the maximum revenue because they did it the right way. And the Rays are doing it the wrong way. And they'll follow the path of the Miami Marlins.
I mean, even into the point, like, they had one of the more maybe on the surface perplexing moves with the offseason. Like they brought in Chris Sale and immediately gave him a 2-year, $38 million contract. And when you see that, I kind of go, Chris Sale looks like he is at the end of the line here. He has a lot of injury issues. And then all of a sudden they sign him. They have the ability to give him a contract like that. And even if it doesn't work out, it's not going to kill him. But man, he looks like Chris Sale of 6, 7, 8 years ago again. And he obviously diced up the Rays on Saturday, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been fantastic for them. But again, as it relates to the Rays, though, and obviously they dropped this series, I think you got to look at the wild card situation now. They're 6 games out. This is no longer like, they're hovering at 2 games back, 2.5. No, they're 6 games out. And there's a lot of teams. There's a lot of teams ahead of them. And if you're looking for hope and optimism for the Rays this year, you're certainly not going to find it out of me. I don't think they're going to find it out of you. And I think if you're trying to convince yourself they have a shot at making the playoffs, I think you're only fooling yourself. They're just not. They're in last place in the American League East, which we always know is the toughest division in baseball. Every time they run into a good team, they look so far off of it, as we've continued to see. Nobody's playing a worse baseball right now over the last 10, 15 games in the American League than the Oakland A's, who have lost 9 in a row. And look at the other last place teams across the league. The White Sox, the A's, the Marlins, the Cubs, who we forget have been awful for the last month too. They're just like the Rays and the Rockies. We're not talking about those other last place teams as, they have a shot at making the playoffs. But somehow people are trying to convince themselves that the Rays do. They just don't. No, they just don't have it in them to string together wins, especially against quality opponents. And with the toughest schedule down the stretch, it's just not going to happen. This is who they are.
You hope that somehow Neander can, right now your hope as a Rays fan is that this scouting department that's been really, really good can go out and find some gems and cherry pick and just, steal out from under the nose of some other organizations that maybe have log jams at certain positions. And they're going to give us something for a lot of players that just don't have a whole lot of value right now. I mean, if that's your hope.
I think it's a foregone conclusion that Randy Rosarena, I think, is definitely getting traded.
Yeah.
At the deadline.
I think Yandy's going to go too.
I don't know about Yandy, but I was going to say Eflin for sure, because Eflin's due $18 million next year, and ain't no way he's going to be on this roster
Tyler
next season.
By the way, had another great.
And by the way, not that I really, based on the way Eflin's pitching, I'm okay with you offloading that contract.
Yeah,
just because I want you to spend doesn't mean I want you to spend on players who don't deserve $18 million.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if somebody's,
I always love that. I would love that if I knew they were going to reinvest that money, but I know they're not.
Right. I know there's contenders that always need pitching. Everybody needs pitching. I think Zach Eflin, even he had an okay outing yesterday. I think he needs to pick his game up a little bit. I think he has some
value. Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a shot if he can kind of be consistent down the stretch
behind him. Oh,
yeah. He'll still have some good value that you can get something good for him.
I agree. So start making your moves, Neander. This season is over. But that's the other thing is about the Rays. They when it comes to making trades, they're tough to deal with. They have a reputation of wanting the moon. Sometimes they get it, but they don't make deals unless they are absolutely fleecing you. And I think, at this point, I just like to see different.
We need players, by the way.
Culture.
We need players when you get these returns, you need to aim for players who are hopefully major league ready to roll, that you can at least see cameos of them for the rest of the season and have some hope for 2025 and beyond. I don't need players in return that are going to be playing in high A or whatever. We don't need that.
No, some guys that are just blocked maybe by good players at the major league levels and other organizations that just need a shot. And hopefully we can grab a couple of them. All right, we'll take our first break. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Scott Jeeves, hear him on the program all the time. A great dude, but you do not want to face him in a courtroom. And any of the lawyers over there who are well-trained to vigorously represent you in any of your legal endeavors, whether it be an accident of some type, your car was totaled, you don't think you got the right amount, you're involved in a deal with a home insurance company, any of that stuff, they will represent you, and they will do it in a very, very aggressive way. The Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Tell them JP sent you. And, of course, Hydrate Heroes, try hydrateheroes.com. The new flavors are out. The Tropical Punch is absolutely fantastic. Been drinking that all weekend long. In fact, I'm going to go grab some right now during the break. Try hydrateheroes.com, give you a free 3-pack, and you can just mix it up and enjoy it like I do. Go ahead and buy the 30-pack for just $29.99, less than $1 a serving for a great hydration drink with all of the good stuff and none of the bad stuff, just 5 calories per servings, and it tastes great. Try hydrateheroes.com. Back in 3. Stay with us. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves, who lives right here and has long been a highly respected member of our community. He's a proud sponsor of the Tampa Riverwalk. Jeeves Law Group is also a proud sponsor of our Grand Central District in St. Pete and has neighborhood events throughout the year. He has an office on Central Avenue in St. Pete and one on South Howard in Tampa. You can't get more local than that. So when you need an attorney, are you going to hire some huge firm that advertises all over the state or the one that supports your favorite sports show? It's the Jeeves Law Group. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. For personal injury and personal attention, call us for a free case evaluation. That's 8889-JEEVES. That's 8889-JEEVES.
All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just Get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on TrueBody and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com.
JP here for Extravaganza Productions. You know, I've worked with these pros on so many big and small events. They recently did the Kappa Alpha Psi Grand Reunion, the Tampa RV Show Exhibit. They did the Skills Center opening of Tampa Bay. They can do those small events. They do the biggest of events. So if you were thinking about planning a meeting or special event, call the talented staff at Team EPI. They will give you a free creative meeting if you mention the JP Peterson Show. They will provide you with an exceptional experience. Heck, they'll even show you their huge warehouse with great props. Anything you want. They'll do it on time and on budget. You can reach them at their Tampa headquarters at 813-621-4700 or go to extravaganzaproductions.com. Tell them JP sent you.
JP here for my good friend Thaddeus Bullard, also known as WWE superstar and global ambassador Titus O'Neil, or as his kids call him, Dad. I'm excited to share that the Bullard Family Foundation is partnering with Tampa Well Activated by Tampa General Hospital and Revealing Truth Ministries to host the celebration of all celebrations for the real superstars in our community, the Dads. Everyone's invited to join us for a free celebration on Father's Day, June 16th at the Mid-Florida Credit Union Amphitheater in Tampa. Doors open at 9:01 a.m. with food, entertainment, games, and lots of surprises and guests in store for the remarkable dads out there making a difference every day. And you know, if Titus is hosting it, it's gonna be big. Bring the whole family and make sure you register early to celebrate with us at the Superstar Dads Celebration. Now, you need tickets for the event. It's free, but you got to get your tickets at bullardfamilyfoundation.org. That's bullardfamilyfoundation.org.
Let's go! Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
Happened yesterday, but big thanks to Thaddeus Bullard and Titus O'Neil for putting on a great show yesterday. Hope you fathers attended and enjoyed all the great festivities. All right, don't forget, you guys can comment, jump in here and enjoy the show and interact with us online at my show Twitter, the JP Peterson Show, because my personal Twitter has been hopefully temporarily suspended for doing nothing. So please go and join and follow the show Twitter at JP Peterson Show on Twitter. And you can also watch on YouTube. And please like and subscribe. And don't forget about the podcast as well. And you can do it on Facebook at WATB. That's one of our accounts, and also on my personal account there. All right. You want to get into, well, let me hit a couple of the comments from today from our great commenters. Lonnie says the Rays will trade Eflin for a meh prospect, and then once we get the rotation back next season, someone will suck or go down, and we will wish we had Eflin, a.k.a. Morton 2.0. Problem is, Lonnie, we got to get some freaking bats. You know, how are you going to get any bats? I'm not worried about the pitching next year. The pitching will be fine. You know, got all the guys coming back. Spring, by the way, I think is pretty close to coming back. But we need some freaking offense. We need some mashers, right?
Yeah, they need a new look in that lineup. There's no doubt about it. They just need fresh.
What does that lineup look like next year, you think? Junior at third, Paredes at first, Yandy traded, Randy traded.
I personally don't believe
some good young bats.
I personally don't believe Yandy's getting moved. I just don't.
$10 million next year?
Yeah, but I mean, I think Yandy is still useful enough to keep. But yeah, I think Randy would be gone. Josh Lowe's obviously going to be a part of the equation. Brandon Lau's a free agent, so I don't foresee them bringing him back for sure. Maybe Jonathan Aranda finally gets to stick.
Yeah.
We'll see on that one. We have to remind you, Jonathan Aranda is not young anymore. I think he's 26 at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's like almost now or never for him, which is why I wish he was still up here at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, for the rest of the season, get him up here. I mean, what do we let him learn? If he can hit major league pitching, like you just got to get used to hitting major league. To your point the other day, he's doing nothing. He can hit AAA. What is he doing?
Yeah.
And how's he going to hurt you at the major league level? Who cares? The season's over.
Yeah. You're going to
let him get at bats.
Yeah. And then you're going to have, DeLuca's going to be here for a minute. Hopefully he can find something, because right now he's been just horrid at the plate. Siri, same thing. A lot of the same faces, but I think they still need to bring in some fresh guys, at least 3 to 4 new guys. I think I need to see in that lineup next year
Yeah.
from what you're seeing right now.
Yeah, I think Junior Caminero. Now I think Yandy's okay. So he has a high batting average. He gets on base, but he can't really run.
Can't run, and he doesn't hit for power.
And he's not that great defensively. Love him. We love him, but
I just think he's worth keeping around as the veteran for me.
okay. Rick says my son bought me tickets for a Rays game in July for Father's Day. I'm not sure if he loves me or not. I don't know. Why Randy? Why move Randy? Because he's not going to stick with this team long term. He's a Boris client. He's going to make $12 million next year,
and he's in decline.
And he's in decline. Yeah. So, other than that, yeah, this team needs a complete. Oh, I said it a month ago, and I reiterate it now. It needs a complete overhaul. All right, let's get to the Caitlin Clark portion of the show. So, in case you missed it yesterday, Angel Reese playing against Caitlin Clark. This time, I'll give her this. This was actually a more of a basketball play, but Caitlin blows by her. Angel basically winds up and smacks her in the top of the head, in her head, knocking her to the ground. This time, they actually called it a flagrant one, which of course it was. And of course, the world is on fire because of it. And again, I think there are some good arguments both ways, but I think the overarching thing is, and I said this on Twitter yesterday, it's not ever getting any better for Caitlin Clark. It's not ever going to, the attitude in this league is never going to change. It's only going to embolden. And you know that because of the way these players continue to handle these press conference situations. And there's no mea culpas. And what was the girl last week who was, who did the demonstrative, like Caitlin was somehow embellishing the calls. DeAndre Carrington, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
She comes out and tweets, racism, bigotry, all her fans, misogynistic, and all. So now we're going to start, pointing fingers at her fans. I mean, this is like, I hate to say this, but it's the entire political landscape playing out in front of us on a basketball court. And that is not fair to the players. It's not fair to anybody. It's certainly not fair to Caitlin Clark, who's being put in the middle of this whole damn thing. And could not be any classier, by the way, in her responses yesterday. But the players just continue, like Angel Reese just throws gas on the fire. Like they don't give a crap. Like in case you didn't wonder if you thought, after a while this is going to go away and, it will be, all rainbows and unicorns. No, it's not going away. And I read a very interesting piece from a player who wrote this. This is back in 2013, 2014. She was, I think, the third overall pick in the WNBA draft. And she did a lengthy interview on how she felt that she was just, thrown out of the league or continued to be persecuted because she was a white heterosexual. And again, I don't want to get into all this, but it's here and it's now. And so this is a player in the league coming out and saying, and we've had players that have played on multiple very famous female teams come out and say this has been a problem. We had it with the U.S. soccer team, and where sexual orientation, race, all these things are playing a huge part in how players are accepted or not accepted. And I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, but I don't know if this happens a lot in men's sports. I don't know of the petty jealousy and I don't for a lot of it, I don't know if this is a race thing as much as it is maybe other things.
What is it that Charles Barkley said earlier this month that, the whole thing about women being, jealous and petty and all that kind of stuff, like, and that, of course, that's his opinion and whatnot. I mean, maybe there's something to that. I don't know. Not really for me to speak on, but the whole topic, I'm so like, I couldn't be more worn out over it.
'Cause
Over
it's
these
politics.
controversies just
Yes.
every week or every game that she plays. Like, I've been saying this, like, women's sports and women's basketball is going through a renaissance period right now.
It
And
was.
typically when any sport goes through a renaissance period, there's usually a face of that renaissance. You mentioned it with golf. The face of that renaissance was Tiger Woods,
Yes.
right? When the NBA was struggling after Jordan retired and you had the Spurs on top and Tim Duncan wasn't the greatest face of the league because that's not who Tim is.
Right.
And they were looking for something fresh and something new, and guess who just fell out of the tree? LeBron James.
Yeah.
Who just was different. He captivated you. And of course, the media plays a big role in this because there's this thing called hype that, the media builds up and we all buy into it. And they did the same thing with Caitlin Clark. Not saying she didn't deserve that hype. She absolutely did.
Absolutely.
And it caught on to the casual American audience to where people are tuning into these games. They're going to the games, and money for the first time seems to be flowing out of this league to the point when they get their next TV deal. I have to think it's going to be pretty substantial. And at that point, not
if
just
Caitlin stays in the league,
and at that point, not only will Caitlin Clark be making a lot of money, everybody around her is going to be making a lot of money. And so that to me is all you can ask for. So all these reasons of why she is so popular and all this stuff, like, I really don't care. We all wanted women's sports to be at the forefront. It is. Can we stop trying to just tear it down and overanalyze and overpick every single moment that happens in these games? I saw this play happen yesterday. I wasn't watching it live, but of course it hit social media right away. And
like
I watched it.
typhoon.
Yeah, and I watched it and I go, yeah, it's a flagrant foul. I didn't think anything of it though. Like, I've been watching basketball my entire life. Maybe some sports more than others. I see flagrant fouls all the time. This same stuff happens where somebody's trying to hit the ball clearly and they make contact with the head, and it is what it is. But it's just turned into this big, like, race war where both sides are like just going after each other because it's a white on black or black on white type of thing. And I'm just so over it. We cannot come here after every Caitlin Clark game and overanalyze a foul during the game. This is basketball. At the end of the day, it's physical. It just gets physical. And you know who was trending yesterday on Twitter when this happened, JP?
Who?
Bill Laimbeer. And you want to know why? Because Bill Laimbeer did the same stuff.
I was gonna say that name. Yeah.
And night out, and we called them the bad boys, and they were good for the league. And it brought
they weren't good for the league. They were terrible for the league. They killed basketball for 5 years, maybe longer.
It brought on a great professional rivalry between the teams they were playing.
We'll agree.
We look back on it with all this great fondness. It even got Larry Bird to even go at it with Laimbeer. All these iconic clips and everything we look at. But then it happens in the women's game, and it turns into some weird racial thing where both players are being put in the middle of it. I think that's separate. That's a separate conversation from what you were talking about with the things that Angel has said at the press conferences and some other players. Just separate to that, I'm so worn out on that. I'm so worn out on this becoming some big race issue and some sexual orientation issue when I don't think that has any place here.
I agree with you. I'm worn out about it, but I believe that a lot of it, you don't think that the motivations from Angel Reese and other players are coming from their jealousy of Caitlin Clark?
I think there is a motive of jealousy, but I don't necessarily think it is a racial jealousy.
It started, and I remember it clearly. We talked about it on this show when I think it was Tarazi and Sue Bird, when they were doing their alternate broadcast of Caitlin Clark in the women's finals. They started chirping right away. Oh, wait till she gets to the league. She's not that good.
Doesn't every league do this?
No. I've never seen men analysts. Never.
I mean, but didn't you say the same thing about Tiger Woods back in the day?
League. They're like, "Oh, Steph Curry is amazing." Did they trash Steph Curry when he was coming into the league? I don't remember that.
I don't remember that at all. Nearly the amount of hype that a Caitlin Clark did.
Well, okay, true, but I could, LeBron. Did they trash LeBron? Did they trash Kobe? Kobe was awful his first year. I witnessed it firsthand. Did they trash the guy like the girls are doing? No. Did they trash Tiger Woods? There was some negative pushback. There was a little bit, but that was quickly quashed, right? And because it just didn't. This has been something different from the very beginning. And I would agree with you. I don't think it has a lot to do with race, to be honest with you. I think it's blown up into that.
I think the
right?
media has grabbed
But
onto
I
that
think
narrative.
it's more about just the attention. It's the attention that she gets that really rubs these other girls the wrong way. Whether she was black, I mean, if she was black, would it be different? Maybe a little bit, I think. Maybe a little bit. Well, yeah, I think it would be different. I think I absolutely would be different. The fact that she is a white heterosexual in a predominantly black lesbian league is I think it's an issue. I think you're just putting blinders on. If you're not,
I don't know,
I've
because
never
even you brought up
seen jealousy and stuff like this. So listen, when you continue to throw flames on the fire, gas on the fire, you're forcing me to make a big deal out of this. You're not even saying the right things. You're like, F it. You know, she gets a special whistle. Are you serious? Are you serious? Let's play. This is Angel Reese's comments after yesterday's not flagrant one call.
Angel, I wanted to get your assessment from the first half to the second half, because the first half, you and Camilla were cooking in the first half there, but what happened in that second half?
I mean, for inside, I think we were playing really hard. I think we went up really strong a lot of times, and we didn't get a lot of calls. And going back and looking at the film, I've seen a lot of calls that weren't made. I guess some people got a special whistle, but just being able to play hard as best as we can. I'm still proud of Camilla going on, still getting a double-double. And that's something y'all not going to be able to stop them, regardless of the referees. Like, we're here for a while. We're not going to be denied, no matter what you guys can try to do. But our goal is to win, and we're going to do whatever it takes to win and continue to do that.
All right. First of all, she wasn't even asked about Caitlin. She wasn't even asked about the officiating. She wasn't even asked about any of that. And she had to go there and play the victim. Oh, we're not going anywhere. We're going to do whatever we have to do to win. And normally, okay, I get that. But now it takes on a completely different subtext. I hate the fact that it's become this, but they keep throwing flames on the fire. And then what was Caitlin's response? Do you have to play that, or can I?
I got it.
All right.
Flagrant foul by Angel Reese. What's going through your mind, and how you just stay within yourself to finish the game?
What's going through my mind is I need to make these 2 free throws. That's all I'm thinking about. It's just a part of basketball. It is what it is. She's trying to make a play on the ball and get the block. But yeah, I mean, it happens. And those free throws, when you have to shoot them with nobody at the line, are kind of hard. So it's a little different than having people at the line. So I was just trying to focus on making those.
And she later went on to say that, Angel has done a great job with her platform and was very effusive in her praise of Angel Reese. 2 completely different approaches to this issue. She keeps taking the high road. Everybody else keeps taking the low road. And listen, at this point, if I were Caitlin, I'd say, because it ain't changing. It's not changing. It's only going to get worse. I'd be like, F this. I'm going to go play overseas. Y'all can have it. Get your new contract, whatever it's going to be, but it ain't going to be with me here. I don't know why you would subject yourself to this kind of ridiculousness as Caitlin Clark. It's why I said, do not take your last year at Iowa. Take a victory lap. Go win a national championship. Imagine the players they could have brought to Iowa to play with her. I mean, she could have.
But I don't think any of this is, and if you read her body language and the way that she speaks with all this stuff, like it doesn't come off certainly like she's bothered by any of it. Like you said, she takes the high road. She says all the right things, even when she was asked over the weekend.
What did she text her coach in private that she made public? Like, way to go, coach. They've created a monster. You don't think this is bothering her behind the scenes?
By leaving her off the Olympic team.
Right. It's what she didn't say in public. She never said that in public. There's a lot that she'd like to say in public, I bet. And she's not saying it. So to sit here and think that, it doesn't bother her. No, it's not. That's not humanly possible. To be the outsider, by the way, did you see the body language of her teammate at the press conference, almost had her back turned to Caitlin. This is what she like. Caitlin was, if I'm doing this the correct way, Caitlin was, and she was like this. And Caitlin was over here during the whole press, wouldn't even look at her. Her own teammate, as these questions were coming. I don't know if you've ever been in a party where you're not wanted or you're the outsider, but it's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling. And I can only imagine. It's never happened to me. But, I mean, it's on a nightly basis in front of, 20,000 people in the world. Well, they 17,000 when they're playing at home. I mean, no. I don't know how she does it. And if she finishes the year, congratulations. If she stays in the WNBA, congratulations. But my guess is she's going to be hurt seriously before any of that happens, and before she realizes that this is never.
I guess I just don't know what the line is. Like you can't just coddle her because she's the golden goose.
I understand.
Like, again, this is competitive sports. Like I understand. I'm saying, like I mean, we've all played sports to a certain degree. And you always see this person come in with a certain bit of hype or whatnot, and you always think, oh, I want to knock them off their pedestal. I want to show them. Like, I feel like that's always been a thing in competitive sports. But for whatever reason,
this is different.
Maybe it's a little different, but I just feel like the narratives that are surrounding it are just sometimes just getting completely out of hand, and it becomes less about growing the game and, hey, let's all rally around this women's sports renaissance to just a bunch of BS that has nothing to do with it that none of these players deserve.
And I don't think you're wrong, by the way. I think both things can be true. Is a lot of this being blown out of proportion? Absolutely. At the same time, you can't sit there and bury your head in the sand and say, oh, this is just regular basketball. No, it's not. In my opinion, it's not. I've seen too much that I've never seen before. And it's fascinating to watch. And it is, if you really look at this, it's our whole old political landscape playing out on a basketball floor. It really is. And it's a fascinating observation of our socioeconomic cultural times. It really is. From every level, on the race level, sexual orientation level, media level, political level, agenda level, like everything it's like this confluence, and it's happening on a basketball court of all places, a WNBA basketball court.
And I feel like this quote here that I'm going to bring up maybe shines a light on it. It was from Serena Williams over the weekend with Time Magazine. And Serena said her advice to Caitlin Clark: if people are being negative, it's because they can't do what you do.
Yeah.
And that's what Serena said. And I wasn't as close to figuring out all the off the court stuff when it comes to her tennis career. Obviously, I know she dominated, so I don't know if there was supreme jealousy for Serena when she came into the sport. Obviously, knowing her backstory, she came in as a prodigy.
They were hated.
Was great right away.
And Venus and Serena were hated in those locker rooms. Hated. Yeah, those white girls did not treat them with any respect that they deserved. None of them. I shouldn't say none of them. A majority of them. She knows what she's talking about. She knows what she's talking about. 100%. It's fascinating. It's sad. It's horrible. It's fascinating. And
I mean, this stuff is being talked about. Last night, they were talking about this freaking hit to the face on CNN.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, why is this? I cannot believe this is being talked about.
Just because what I just said.
We're so close to somehow a presidential candidate being asked about this. Like, we're almost getting to that point.
Oh, well, if one was actually asked real questions, they would actually did a real
I just don't need it. I just don't need any of this to that level. I really don't.
How'd you even have to bring that up, man? I was watching that moron, that idiot, just on the world stage.
I don't mean to incite you, and I should never bring up political because I hate political.
It's such
talk.
a disaster.
But my whole point with saying that is it's like that's the reach that this issue has covered, is that it's on every just big news outlet in general.
Because that's what I just said, Nick. it just touches. It is literally the personification of our cultural war playing out on a basketball court, on a WNBA. It's exactly what it is. And it's didn't have that on my bingo card. That's for damn sure. That's for damn sure.
No, and I'm just over it. I'm just over it.
I get it. I listen. I knew you would be, but it's you can't.
I am over it, and I'm not gonna embrace it either. By the way, yeah. I'm not going to embrace it. I will not.
It'll be interesting how it ends. All right, quick break. When we come back, Matt Matera is going to join us as we talk a little Buccaneers football because T. Knowles is in here and wants to talk about the Bucs secondary and their pass rush. Yes, absolutely. That is the question mark on this team. So we will do that when we come back. We're brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Go see our good friend Chris Lugo over there and get everything right. Get your immune system right, your nutrition right. Stay healthy. That's the whole idea. Don't just treat people when they get sick, but keep them healthy at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. That's how we do it. All right, quick break. Back with Matt Matera right after this. Stay with us. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man, Scott Jeeves. If you're going to hire an attorney, do you want some guy looking for a quick settlement and a quick buck, or do you want an attorney with some chops? Scott is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator. Been practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. He is a peer-reviewed AV preeminent-rated civil trial lawyer. They just don't hand out those classifications. He's been the lead class action counsel on many complex consumer protection cases and has handled hundreds of serious personal injury cases. He's dedicated his career to protecting injured victims and is committed to vigorously representing you. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. Personal injury and personal attention. Call for a free case evaluation. That's 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. The Jeeves Law Group.
All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com.
With over 34 years of producing small and large events, Extravaganza Productions is truly a Tampa treasure when it comes to creating some of the very best events in Tampa and all across the United States. I've worked with them at the Florida Sports Hall of Fame inductions, the Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-sized event spread across all of Tampa Bay. They are the very best, from small meetings to exceptionally large corporate conferences to galas, fundraisers, sporting events, grand openings, whatever you want. Team EPI has an extremely talented staff of designers and show producers that develop extraordinary events fueled by the visions of their clients. You can reach them at their Tampa headquarters at 813-621-4700 or go to extravaganzaproductions.com. JP here for my good friend Thaddeus Bullard, also known as WWE superstar and global ambassador Titus O'Neil, or as his kids call him, Dad. I'm excited to share that the Bullard Family Foundation is partnering with Tampa Well Activated by Tampa General Hospital and Revealing Truth Ministries to host the celebration of all celebrations for the real superstars in our community, the Dads. Everyone's invited to join us for a free celebration on Father's Day, June 16th at the Mid-Florida Credit Union Amphitheater in Tampa. Doors open at 9:01 a.m. with food, entertainment, games, and lots of surprises and guests in store for the remarkable dads out there making a difference every day. And you know, if Titus is hosting it, it's gonna be big. Bring the whole family and make sure you register early to celebrate with us at the Superstar Dads Celebration. Now, you need tickets for the event. It's free, but you got to get your tickets at bullardfamilyfoundation.org. That's bullardfamilyfoundation.org.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance. Jared, you did it again. You know, every 6 months, my auto insurance comes up for renewal, and we bundled them this time. She did a bundle job, and probably saved me $2,000 this time because we did a different strategy, and that's what they do at Italiano Insurance, folks. They know all the great ways to save money, so they do all the work and they save you money. So between our homeowners insurance and my auto insurance, probably going to save me $2,000 in the next 6 months to a year cycle. That's a lot of money. And I didn't even have to do any of the work. 813-877-7799. Italiano Insurance. Tell them JP sent you. All right, let's bring in from the Pewter Report our good friend Matt Matera, who was sweating it out at OTAs all last week to give us some great information on what he saw of all these great new young Buccaneer players. What's up, Matty? How are you, buddy?
JP, Nick, I'm doing great. So awesome to be with you guys. How's it going? And happy belated Father's Day as well.
Thank you very much. And back at you if you're a dad. Are you a dad?
I am not, but appreciate the kind words anyway.
To your dad, then.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'll take it. Thank you.
Your dad. It's a dad around here somewhere. I know that much. Thank you very much. Well, we had a lot of youngsters, a lot of babies running around $1 Place this past week at OTAs. It's great to see the older guys there because they're participating and you feel that great vibe right out there that everybody's all in, even Tristan Wirfs, even though he's not practicing. We know where his head's at. So what was your overall take on the whole week of OTAs?
Yeah, it seems like a team that's really bought in, is ready to kind of prove people wrong again, even though some people didn't learn their lesson from a season before. Baker Mayfield is truly taking on a leadership role, especially having previously known this offense. And we've heard a lot of guys talk about that. It is a little bit of a difficult offense, just in terms of they're coming to the huddle with several plays. It takes a high IQ type of football player to really understand this offense. So Rashad White, even Bucky Irving, who obviously is a rookie, have really praised Baker for kind of taking the reins and leading this group in the right direction. And then you mentioned some of the young guys. I think it's really been a great push for this wide receivers room. Jalen McMillan, obviously a rookie, has stood out, but I think that's pushed guys like Rakim Jarrett as well, even with the Sterling Shepard signing. The wide receivers outside of Mike and Chris Godwin, and I look at the Bucs receivers, there's Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and then there's everybody else.
Right.
But I think these other wide receivers have really been put on notice that we're not messing around after Mike and Chris. Like, we're building this depth and we're going to make it solid in case we have to break glass and go somewhere else. So I like the way that the receivers have really pushed each other.
Is there anything you've been able to see so far from Graham Barton? I know he signed his rookie deal finally, and we got to finally see him out there a little bit. Your first takeaways of seeing him out there?
Yeah, of course, like this time of the year, it's kind of underwear Olympics for the offensive linemen, and they suffer the most with not having shoulder pads and being able to be physical. Now, with that said, Grant Barton is quick. You can see it when he gets out of his stance after he snaps the ball. He's able to move around very well, and I think that will obviously help the Bucs in the long run because they've been at their best when they have big, athletic offensive linemen. I go back to when Liam Cohen had his introductory press conference as the offensive coordinator, and he mentioned Tristan Wirfs as a weapon. And you don't hear that all the time with an offensive lineman, but he wants to get Tristan out in space. I know pulling a center isn't as common in the NFL, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Bucs try to do that with Graham Barton a little bit. And really just the way that he's ingratiated himself with the offensive line and the rest of his teammates. Like, you have to be assertive when you are a center, making line calls, understanding what the defense is trying to throw at you. And, when you're coming in as a rookie, you're not going to try to be like, all right, I'm the leader right away. But I think he's done a good job of being vocal, but also not stepping on anyone's toes. So he's bringing a positive impact early.
I think the new talent up front, obviously Graham Barton, is a big difference. Cody Mock has put on some good weight, as we've both seen. He looks really, really good. Gedeke year 2, Tristan year 2 at their tackle spots. And then, left guard, I think, is going to be an upgrade, whether it's Opeta or maybe Evan Klein, who might, shine through. I don't know if you can talk a little bit about him. But I think we also don't miss, and I don't mean to disparage, our past offensive line coaches who were, we all love them. But they were bad. They were bad in the run game. They were really, the run coordinator and the run game was really, really bad. The modern angle blocking that Liam Cohen's system brings, and I'm forgetting the Lions coach name that he brought with him from the Rams. Kevin
Carberry.
Carberry. I mean, to me, this is what the modern day NFL is about. You watch a lot of the blocking schemes from the Bucs last year. It's like zone, everybody push their man in this direction. We're going to slam Rashad White up the middle, but you don't have anybody who moves anybody, especially at the point of attack. I mean, Hainsey could never move people. When the Bucs were at their best, you had Marpet and Ryan just mowing people and moving people out of that point of attack. This is what I think is going to be a huge difference with this team. And I first of all, I can't wait to see the different looks of this running game where it's more spread out, 3 wide, not just this clumped mass of people who can't move anybody. I know it's a long soliloquy, but the difference in the running game, I think from what I've seen is light years.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, JP. There are so many different things that we can look at for how the offensive line can improve. Obviously, personnel-wise, with Graham Barton and Cody Mauch taking another step forward. Those are obviously upgrades that we can kind of look at directly. And I think you make a great point, too, with Tristan and Luke Edeke staying in their same spots. There's not as many moving parts this year, which I think overall will help. And I think this is an offensive line that's probably better suited for the zone blocking. We know Tristan Wirfs can kind of move his guy and do whatever he wants. That's why he's one of the best offensive tackles in football. But some of these other guys, I think it's going to help with the 3-by-1 look. If you're not going to be able to beat everybody off the ball right away, that's fine. Not every single lineman's going to be able to do that. But that's where the motion and kind of these different setups will help the offensive line, even if they're not kind of dominating at the point of attack. So it's a mixture of better personnel, different looks that the defense kind of has to be confused about. And this is another benefit of having Liam Cohen versus Dave Canales, where Cohen's already talked about, hey, we're going to play the numbers game. If they have all the guys on the right side, well, we're going to run it to the left. We're not just going to stick to it and go to the right side. And that's the beauty of letting Baker have more control than he did with Canales. And this isn't knocking Canales' system. It obviously worked to a pretty good degree last season, and Baker benefited from it. But now Baker's going to be able to audible, and not everything's going to be as predictable as sometimes I think it got last season. And I think that's why you saw the Bucs kind of struggle in those short yardage situations, because you knew what was coming. And in this case, with Cohen, with Graham Barton, whoever wins at left guard, they're going to have one look, but you can run 3 to 4 different things out of it on any given scheme. So, yeah, I expect a huge improvement in the run game. The last 2 years, dead last in running the football. You can't have that. It's not sustainable. And Carberry, it was funny talking to Luke Edeke. I asked him about what he thinks about this new coach, and he said he always has something to say, and he leaves no stone unturned. So it seems like he's already tapping into the group, and yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I guess one of the bigger stories at OTAs this year was the whereabouts of Randy Gregory. Clearly, we all been kind of monitoring that a little bit, and
I know where he is and what he's doing.
But I guess having respect for the fact that we don't know where he's at and what's going on inside his head. But at the same time, do you think he's put himself in a spot where he could be on thin ice, especially at a position where you know that a really good player that could play in this league is probably going to not make this team because it's kind of a logjam at that position? And what do you feel like? I know Todd Bowles didn't really have much to say about it, but anything you'd be able to take away from what they said?
Well, Todd Bowles certainly isn't happy about it because he wasn't able to talk about it, but he said he's had discussions and, he'll be disciplined and we'll see where it goes from there. But it doesn't sound like Todd Bowles is very happy about it. Yeah, we still don't know why he isn't there, but to answer your question about if it puts him on thin ice, with being respectful to whatever may be going on with him, yeah, he is on thin ice because this is an outside linebacker room. We can argue about, JTS and his production and some of the other guys. But in terms of just capable players that can start, that have had an impact on this team or have made plays in one way or another, there's a lot of depth at outside linebacker, even outside of Yaya Diaby. So this was going to be a tough room to crack just to get playing time, let alone make the 53-man roster to begin with. And I understand OTAs, you don't have to be there. That's more for like Levante David, Mike Evans, and guys like that. When you're a veteran guy that has a little bit of a checkered past. I mean, he was suspended for a whole season, suspended several games another year. Yeah, you don't have to be there, but it's a wink in the nod to you have to be there. And you know what? If Randy Gregory doesn't want to show up, you have JTS, Anthony Nelson. Marquise Watts clearly wants to make a name for himself. Jose Ramirez, the team is very high on. Oh, and they drafted Chris Braswell in the second round. Like, with no disrespect to Randy Gregory, I don't really think it matters at this point if he's on the team or not, because they have enough other guys in the room and outside linebacker to get the job done.
Yeah, I think he was just signed as kind of a, you know what, if this works out well, if he comes in and shows us something, we're not, you didn't give up any assets to get him. It's like, this is all, if it works for us, fine. If not, bye-bye. And I think we're pretty close to bye-bye. So
like it's an extra headache that the Bucs don't need. If he doesn't want to show up, then he doesn't want to show up. Maybe
we've got so little to talk about in terms of negativity with the Bucs that we have to talk about this guy who's really not a factor. It wasn't going to be a big factor.
We've never seen him in a Bucs jersey or a helmet or anything. We've seen him wearing the creamsicle hat at a Zoom press conference. That's about it.
I'd much rather talk about this question from T. Knowles, who joined us today. I've not seen him in the comments before, so thank you. He said, "Morning, fellas. Huge Bucs fans. I have them going 11-6, but my biggest concern is a pass rush to match up with a revamped secondary. If Jordan and or Winfield go down, we are a sorry secondary. It's kind of suspect." Well, I think everybody in the league can say that if you lose two of your starters in the secondary, you're going to be suspect. But that being said, again, I think this is an area where they've checked all the boxes and did everything they possibly could. Brought in a super talented kid in Tyke Smith.
Yeah.
Brought back Jordan. I think in two moves that were, I think, kind of under the radar in Bryce Hall and Tavarius Thomas.
Yeah.
I mean, you brought in some depth. I love what they've done here. And I think getting rid of Carlton was probably a plus to get Zion to move up. And I think Zion could be really, really good with his athleticism. So I expect big things, and I expect an improved pass rush as well. What do you think?
I'm a huge fan of the Bucs secondary with their depth. Huge fan. I mean, you mentioned the safeties. Since Jordan Whitehead left, the Bucs have been looking for his replacement at safety, and they just decided to bring him back, which I think is in turn going to help Antoine Winfield Jr., who's already an all-pro safety. You want to talk about the depth behind that? Tyke Smith, I'm a really big fan of as well. I think he has that natural instinct that you see. And I'm not comparing him to this guy, but like Ed Reed has natural instinct when he was playing. He could bait the quarterback into throwing the football. Tyke Smith, just watching him play already, he's got that look and that feel of a great player. And then your other backup safety is Christian Izien, who was the starting slot corner last year. You had a guy who was starting last year. Now he's going to be fourth on your depth chart. I love the depth specifically at safety. And of course, one of those guys has to win the nickel job, whether it's Tyke Smith or Izien or Thomas is in the mix as well. And then cornerback, I feel better about the depth this year than I did last season because if it's only just Jamel getting hurt, you still have Zion in there. I think Bryce Hall is a really good backup. He got cooked a little
starter
bit.
level.
Yeah, starter level. The only reason why he didn't start with the Jets is because they drafted Sauce Gardner and they had TJ Reed. That's the only reason why he didn't. He has starting experience. I want to see how he looks the first couple of weeks of training camp because he got beat on a ball or two at OTAs where I was like, I don't know about that. But again, that's why he's probably going to be the backup and you have Zion there. I think the better secondary will also help out that pass rush a little bit because you got to remember, Yaya going into year 2, he's got a lot to prove. He wants to show that last season wasn't just a fluke. And Yaya looks gigantic. Like, gigantic. It's insane. And if you get any one of the ensemble cast at outside linebacker, plus Kalijah Cansey playing more in year 2, Vita Vea slimmed down, I think not that the Bucs defense has struggled terribly, but last year they had issues getting home.
Secondary with pass defense was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah. And they struggled with the 4-man pass rush last year. They were still top 10 in sacks with all the crazy blitzes. So if you get that pass rush going and you don't have to send the cows home every single time, I have very high expectations for the defense this year. I think it's a bit of a bounce back season for that defense.
And we've also seen in recent years, last year, for example, just because you're an undrafted free agent, you still have a shot to make these teams. And the Bucks have been willing to take on some of those guys, whether it was Izzian and, Kayvon Merriweather. Who have you seen so far that might be the leader in the clubhouse of, hey, he has a shot to really make this team? I know Todd, I think he actually went out of his way to mention Tyrek Funderburk, the guy from App State as well.
Yeah, he was the guy that I had on my mind. He had an interception the first day of minicamp, almost made a sick one-handed interception on the second day of practice. So, yeah, he's the guy I think could end up making the team as, the last cornerback in the room, obviously play special teams. Kalen DeLoach was a big name coming in, and I think he's proved his play on the field as well. He's had a couple of nice pass breakups. Again, it's tough to show physicality there, but once the pads come on, if he can make some big run stopping plays, I think DeLoach has a good shot of making this team. So those would be the two guys on defense for sure. On offense, it'll be tough to see who exactly could crack the 53-man roster, but I think there's a little bit of an interesting battle at running back after Rachaad White, Bucky Irving, Chase Edmonds. They're all good, but we know Sean Tucker from last year. There are two other guys. DJ Williams had a nice play the last day of practice on a screen pass. And then so he's a running back. And Ramon Jefferson, he wears number 45. He's built very different than any of the other running backs that the Bucks have in their room. He's like that thick Brandon Jacobs-like type of running back.
How big is he?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Because Brandon Jacobs was 6'5", 260.
Yeah, I don't mean like 6'5". I just mean like kind of the structure. He looks like a brick house essentially. But he played at Kentucky for Liam Cohen, so Liam Cohen's going to know how to use him more than anybody else. I'm not saying they're cracking the 53-man roster, but they could be a practice squad guy.
He's an interesting because he got injured. It was very productive. Had a huge productive season, then got injured. Yeah, he's an interesting prospect. One of those guys kind of gets lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, for sure. So I think he could end up making the practice squad, maybe pushing Sean Tucker. So not the number one battle going to training camp by any means, but something to keep your eye on.
No, I love that. Well, I think where Bucky Irving fits into this thing is going to be, I think, a really big splash, and where I think he might make the biggest impact. And I didn't see the special teams work. Maybe you did, but in kickoff return, is he getting any looks at kickoff return?
Yeah, he's had some reps in there. So is Trey Palmer and Jalen McMillan as well. I think with these new kickoff rules, it benefits running backs the most, which is great to see because we've seen how running backs are kind of getting phased out of the game. So if there's another area where they can have an impact, I'm all for it. But yeah, it would make total sense if Rachaad White is going to start at running back and you still want to get the most out of Bucky Irving. Put him at kick return, let him see the holes, let him read it and hit it through. He's already said, I'm in such a chill way too. I'm down to do anything. Whatever the team asks, I'm going to do it. I'm happy to do it. So he seems like he's all for it. We'll see how it shakes out when the preseason gets there. But I think that'd be a great idea to have Bucky at least get some opportunities in this new type of kickoff thing where it benefits a running back probably more than other positions.
Well, Matty, any other guys kind of catch your eye? I know Cade Otton had some nice catches. Jalen McMillan, we talked about him. Anybody else kind of catch your eye at OTAs?
Chris Braswell's speed, I thought, was very on point, getting around the corner. He's been known for his physicality and for his strength, but I liked his quickness getting after the quarterback. I thought that kind of stood out. Cade Otton, yeah, he did. He had a big first day, making a lot of catches. I think it'll be less is more is probably best for Cade Otton, not playing 99% of those snaps. But yeah, Braswell, as far as like the rookie group kind of really stood out. And Logan Hall put on some size as well. It's obviously a make or break year for him, but he definitely put on some weight. He looks ready to go. Obviously, he's got to prove it on the field. Body type wise, though, obviously everybody was talking about Vita Vea and Cody Mauch and Yaya, but Logan Hall, low key, had beefed up as well.
He needs to be a little bit more Will Golston, no question about it.
Yeah.
All right, so we got some time off before training camp starts. So this will be the time when all the experts take a look and say how bad the Buccaneers are. I don't get it. I love it. I think it was one major publication who had all the other playoff teams from the divisional round ranked in the top 9 or 10, and the Bucs at 23rd. It's like
it's ridiculous.
It's like, what are we doing?
And for
here?
what? They brought back all their guys. They
I
won the
know.
division. Like their schedule, although it's a first place schedule, I don't think their schedule is insanely difficult outside of that little gauntlet right before the bye week. But
The middle point is brutal.
Yeah,
it's the NFL, man. There are no breaks. There's so much parity in this league. There are no breaks.
And a lot of those games are home games too,
right?
Which obviously it doesn't guarantee a win, but it helps a lot more playing at home. So it's in their DNA, though. They love being counted out. That's what Baker's been all about. So
it's where they need to be.
People want to do it again, fine. The Bucs will just eat it up and hopefully win another division.
That's what I say all the time. Like, if some other team went out and signed Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Antoine Winfield, Levante David, Chase McLaughlin. I mean, and like say Atlanta went out and signed all our guys, everybody be going, oh, they're an 11-win team.
Right.
Look at who they got. But because we re-signed them, it's like,
right, because it's not the shiny new toy or whatever. Yeah. It's not the new car in the garage. And even the new signing was an old signing.
Achilles tendon tear quarterback. Woo, we're going right to the top.
Right. Like, don't get me wrong. The Falcons are better with Kirk Cousins, but I'm not buying that automatically they're going to be this 12-win team that coasts to the division. There's an argument to be made that Kirk Cousins was leaving a better team in Minnesota that he had and coming to Atlanta. And the injury is very serious as well. So, yes, the Falcons are better, but they're not invincible. Like, we just saw this play out with the Saints last year and the Bucs. And now, I don't know. If you want to anoint the Falcons, be my guest. I'll reap the benefits with the Bucs and betting on it.
Absolutely. All right, Maddie, what do you guys got coming up at Pewter Report? Give me some promo.
Yeah, podcast. We're putting a bow on the mini camp today. Winners and losers. I'm sure there's one loser you guys can figure out. We talked about it on this show. But yeah, and then looking at the roster of the NFC South, who has the best roster position by position. That's coming up this week. And yeah, going to try to get some players on during this little break as well. So a lot of good stuff with the podcast coming up.
All right, partner. Great stuff, Maddie. Thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me on. Have a good one, guys.
I'll see you. All the predictions are all over the board, but the Bucs are exactly where they want to be. So make some money on it in Vegas, like we did last year. Vegas was dead wrong about the Bucs last year. So, and I think they're dead wrong about them in the preseason as well.
It is so interesting the way Kirk Cousins is talking. And I love Kirk Cousins. I think he's overhated. I think his place in the NFL history books or whatever, like not an all-time great, but just a dependable, solid ass quarterback for years. Yeah. A little overhated in my opinion. But the idea that him going to Atlanta is like on par with like Stafford going to the Rams or something like that, I think is way overblown. Like there's so many, like when you talk about the Falcons, it's like, what if they get the ball to Drake London? What if they get the ball to Kyle Pitts? What if they give Bijan Robinson X many carries? Like there's so many, like what if Kirk Cousins is the same quarterback after you're dealing in what ifs when you're talking about the Atlanta Falcons.
I know there's there's one what if that's not a what if. It's like, what if their pass rush gets better?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, it's not. You had a chance to do that. You took Michael Penix.
Yeah, I still have no idea who's rushing the passer for the Atlanta Falcons.
Nobody.
I still have no idea.
Nobody. And it's about, last time I checked, it's a pretty important thing in this league.
Right.
You know who's really happy they took Michael Penix? Baker Mayfield.
So I think the entire
Tristan Wirfs.
league, I think the entire league was, to be honest with you.
Silly stuff. By the way, Mike Bell from Atlanta radio, who's been very critical of the Falcons quarterback acquisitions, etc. This year will join us, I think, tomorrow. Also, we're going to have Michael Kelly on tomorrow, athletics director at the University of South Florida. Will join us tomorrow. So that's big show tomorrow. You don't want to miss that. All right, we will take a break. When we come back, speaking of colleges, we got USF has a new baseball coach. FSU gets screwed again by the people, the NCAA or whoever the hell is this who's umpiring third base, and the Gators get robbed. Oh my God, that was a heartbreaker for them. But they're still in it, so we'll talk a little College World Series when we come back. We got a lot of other stuff to get to as well. Bill Belichick, got some stuff on him, and a lot more fun and frivolity. Stay with us here on the JP Peterson Show. As the great Titus O'Neil said on this very show, Mother's Day's been kicking our ass for years. It's time to celebrate Father's Day, and where better than the Gold and Diamond Source. The Gold and Diamond Source has the largest selection of men's jewelry, from classic watches to cufflinks to rings. There's something for every dad to enjoy. Yeah, we like shiny stuff too. Their staff is happy to help and guide you through the selection process, ensuring you find a gift that he will love without all the sales pressure and intimidation. That's the great part about the Golden Diamond Source. Terrific staff. And remember, every piece does not lose its value. You can always trade up in the future. So shop the largest selection of jewelry under one roof, like shopping at 10 different jewelry stores. And right now they're offering 5 years interest-free financing, which means you can get a $5,000 piece and only pay $83 a month. Come on, Dad's worth it. This Father's Day, give Dad a gift that he will cherish forever. The Gold and Diamond Source, because dads deserve it. 3800 Almerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. As we head into summer and hurricane season, you must make sure that your home is fully insured. Over 40% of people in Florida are not fully insured because property rates have gone up lately. Your home is worth more, so it needs to be insured. Call the great folks at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799 to make sure you're fully insured. And also, you might just save some money. There are new companies coming into the state all the time. In fact, we just shopped our homeowners insurance, and I'm telling you, folks, we saved over $550 because Charity, the great customer service at Italiano Insurance, did all the work and found us a better company and a cheaper company. She'll do the same for you. 813-877-7799. Do something about these high rates. Shop them around. Could save you lots of money. It's Italiano Insurance. Been doing business here locally for over 60 years. 813-877-7799. Tell them JP sent you. JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA two-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or trying to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group, because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com or call 813-485-6808. JP here for TryHydrateHeroes.com. That's our new website where you can get a free 3-pack of the great Hydrate Heroes Electrolyte Hydration Drink, all for free. Just go to TryHydrateHeroes.com. We'll send you a 3-pack. While you're there, go ahead and buy the 30-pack for just $29.99. Special going on, less than $1 a serving. For all the good stuff, none of the bad stuff. Folks, a lot of these hydration drinks have tons of sugar, tons of calories. Hydrate Heroes, just 5 calories, and they have all the electrolytes in there, plus other stuff that's going to benefit you. A mushroom blend that will help with inflammation. So much other good stuff in there, none of the bad stuff. It's Hydrate Heroes. Go to TryHydrateHeroes.com and get your free 3-pack. The new Tropical Punch flavor is out, and it is fantastic. They'll send you some. Just go to TryHydrateHeroes.com. Get all the information there. Pick up a 30-pack as well. TryHydrateHeroes.com. All the good stuff, none of the bad stuff.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, extravaganzaproductions.com. They are the best in the business. Just did 10 graduation ceremonies at Expo Hall. That's right. All 10 of them. Had to sit through all of those. That's brutal. But they do a great job, and they'll do a fantastic job with your party or business meeting you got coming up. Got a charity event. Maybe you want to spice it up a little, want to do something different this year. They've got a warehouse full of incredible props that will make your theme pop and come to life. So get that free creative meeting with the great folks at Extravaganza Productions, Paul Thomason, Dolly Brown, great folks over there. Just go to their website, contact them through there, email them, call them, tell them JP sent you, and head on over there and chat with them. And they can make your party or event pop. Extravaganza Productions. All right. College World Series. Absolutely incredible this past weekend. Friday night, I'm watching the Noles and Tennessee in an epic game. I mean, back and forth. They were actually the Noles jumped out to a big lead. Offense just cranking. Jamie Arnold for Jesuits started, gave up 6 runs, which I think is the most that he's given up in 5 innings, but got the job done against an absolutely loaded Tennessee lineup. But I'm sitting there, he had a 9-5 lead, 9-6 lead, and I'm like, oh, you got to go score some more runs. They added on a couple more, got to 11-8, I think it was, and then anyway, they have a 3-run lead in the bottom of the ninth. 2 outs. The big left-hander at the plate. And I forget, Link Jarrett, the manager, the head coach of FSU, goes away from his pitcher, brings in the lefty, and he throws a great backdoor slider. Guy comes, check swing, but clearly out over the plate. I couldn't believe the home plate umpire didn't ring him up himself. It was, pictures. Every picture shows he's over the plate, bats over the plate. Actually got out in front of the plate. Appeal to the third base umpire. Tennessee dugout, third base. No swing. Game continues. I'm like, nope, game over. Game over. And Tennessee gets the walk-off double to win the game. Now, listen. You got a 3-run lead in the bottom of the ninth. You got to close the deal.
Right.
You got to close the deal. My boys, that's on you. That's on you. You got to close the deal. It's 3-run lead. But my God, you could argue we did close the deal. That was a swing.
It was the pitch itself was a true 50-50 call, I think.
Yeah.
Of whether it was a strike or not. But
you could have called that a strike.
You could have called it a strike if you wanted to. But the idea that it went to an appeal at third base and it was ruled not a swing, and then we see the replay and it's like there's this magical line, with technology that you can line up.
Yeah.
And I understand the umpires don't have that line, and that's part of the game, It's just happens, but it just to happen at that in a
why does it keep happening to FSU?
Right,
if you're championship moments.
If you're a
2020,
fan,
we have our best basketball team in the history of Florida State University. Sorry, no tournament, guys. Yeah, we're calling off the AC. We're no tournament.
No tournament.
The football snub, legendary, and now in baseball, and folks, it wasn't a national championship game. I get it, but the first game against the top seed, that is almost as close as to a national championship baseball game as you can get,
right?
Without it actually being it. You go in a loser bracket, it's impossible to come out. Well, and you hang a win or a loss on the number 1 seed.
Yeah,
that was huge. It was everything.
It changes a lot. There's no doubt about it. It changes a lot. But you give Florida State credit,
thin, which FSU is.
Yeah, you give Florida State credit. They got back out there yesterday in an elimination game against Virginia.
Yeah,
put them away, pretty easily. And now, guess what? If they beat North Carolina tomorrow at 1 p.m., then the next day you're going to get your rematch with Tennessee.
Yeah,
and it'll be to see who will go to the Final Four. So, you still have a shot to get to Tennessee, alive. But they're still alive. But absolutely having to play that 1 extra game or that 2 extra game, and now you have to play
when you're pitching thin. Yeah,
back-to-back really, games. Really pitching is because that's what I've learned throughout watching this Florida State team and diving into them a little bit. They're a little thin when it comes to pitching depth.
Yeah. They got a lot of good young pitchers, a lot from the Tampa Bay area, just not probably ready for prime time just
right.
yet. So
the lineup is ready for prime time. We know
Tennessee is so good too.
I'm
Tennessee trying to remember really Clark, the kid that hit for the cycle and then another double. That kid, Cam Clark, is that his name? It's going to be a first-round pick. God, is he good? Holy moly. Love to see him in a Rays uniform. Holy moly. He's really, really good.
A couple hitters for Florida State I wouldn't mind seeing in a Rays
Yeah.
uniform today.
Yeah.
Their names are Tibbs and Smith.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing them. Yeah, right now. Can we get them right now? Put them right in there. Yeah, so tough. And then the Gators. Oh my God, Cade Curlin from Berkeley, 3-2 to Texas A&M in the ninth inning. He hits an oppo that's going out. I mean, it's like when he hit it, I was like, oh, that's gone. That's gone. Yes, of Culpepper Curlin, Cade Curlin, his dad is yes, at every game and supporting him and everybody in Berkeley, everybody. I'm like, that's it. That's a huge moment for him. And Lace Laviolette, 6'6" right fielder, just jumps up at the wall and robs him, takes it away. The wind was blowing in, after the storms and everything. So if the wind's not blowing in, that ball's long gone. And the Gators end up losing 3-2. So they got an elimination game today against who? NC State, I believe.
Yeah, they got NC State today at 1 p.m. So coming up here in about an hour and 15 minutes on ESPN.
Yeah,
so stay alive.
Yeah. So interesting. Interesting. And boy, just the watching those games. I mean, just packed stadiums. Yeah, just there's 27, 28,000. I think it holds this intimate atmosphere. But the energy,
and everybody's
amazing.
Everybody's like just blazed out of their mind too. On top of it, which just adds to the atmosphere.
Yeah. It's really fun I'll be watching a lot of College World Series as we go.
Hey, JP, I don't know if you can, I lost hearing of you. So if anybody, that might just be on my end. But if somebody in the comments, if you can hear JP, please let me know. Cause I lost hearing of him.
I'll jump out. Does that help you?
All right. There you go.
Does that help you? All right.
Yep. You're good.
All right, good. Okay. We're always reset. That works every time. Yeah, fun to watch these teams go at it. This is absolutely fantastic theater, without question. All right, well, what else we got to get to over the weekend? We hit the Caitlin Clark stuff. We got the USF hired their new baseball coach this weekend as well. Hannah's, I believe, from
Indiana State.
Guy's got a terrific track record, taking Indiana State of all places to the regionals 3 out of the last 4 years. That's it's been a mystery for a long time. They've got great facilities here. The talent, absolutely tremendous. I know they probably tried to. Well, I know they tried to do the local hire with Joe Urso at University of Tampa, which I think would have been a home run. Michael Kelly's going to join us tomorrow. We'll ask him about that. Joe obviously played at UT, has had tremendous success there, and just very, very loyal to the program. I don't know much about these coaching searches, especially when it comes to baseball. I would think that the local hire is the way to go, and that's what Michael tried to get done. But this guy has a tremendous track record. You coach baseball, you can coach baseball anywhere, but it's just a matter of getting the talent here to stay. That's going to be so important for them.
Yeah, we all agree that, if they can get things going, I mean, the possibilities are endless. If you can try to somehow keep the talent that's in the Bay Area to play at USF. I know there's obviously a lot of competition when you see two teams in the state of Florida who are playing in the College World Series, clearly. Yeah. So I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but definitely they have so much more room for improvement than being a team that can't even make their own, conference tournament, for example. Yeah, especially at a conference that's been weakened a little bit over the last few years. So there's definitely, and to the whole thing about the Joe Urso thing, because I know he was obviously a trendy name, and I know you spoke to him last week, and I don't know if he had mentioned anything about the USF job.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I mean, from what I had always understood is that, UT, the University of Tampa, they typically take very good care of their coaches.
Yes,
and
they do.
There's an atmosphere created there where they don't really want to leave, and I understand that maybe Joe could have had, from a monetary standpoint, some incentive to leave, but he's been there for 2 decades at this point.
Mm-hmm.
He's got University of Tampa is the premier Division II baseball program in all of the country, and he just is very comfortable there. And I can't knock a coach for staying in that role.
Oh,
whereas, no. I mean, even though I think that possibilities are endless with USF, it's still a big risk for a coach to make that jump.
Absolutely. When you got it going like he's got it going, Why would you want to stop? I mean, money, obviously,
Yeah,
but
money obviously would play a role, but
yeah, like I love people that choose lifestyle and loyalty over money any day of the week. And kudos to Joe Urso, and kudos to Michael Kelly for trying to get it done. And we'll see how the new guy does. Got a great opportunity. But he's got to tell you what, basketball and football are flying, and so are the other sports. I mean, the Olympic sports are doing great at USF. Everything is cranking. So, he's got some pressure to live up to.
Yeah, especially with an administration that seems to be more focused on creating an athletic environment that's predicated on success and not just being there.
Yes. All right, let's hit one more break, and when we come back, we're going to hit the Celtics. We got a Game 5 tonight. Kyrie, speaking of throwing gas on the fire, wait till you hear what Kyrie said. This was he was not backing down, that's for damn sure, but he's put a lot of pressure on himself for tonight. And the Oilers finally break out against the Panthers. Why do I feel like these are just gentlemen sweeps waiting to happen? Well, we'll talk about both of those when we come back. We're brought to you by the great folks at American Mortgage Services and the Geddes Gordon Group. Jane Geddes will get you the right property. Will help you sell your property. She's doing great. They're still turning a lot of homes in the South Tampa region. Anywhere in the Tampa Bay area, go to GettysGordonGroup.com and for more information. And we'll be chatting with Jane again this week about all things sports and real estate. Stay with us. Quick break.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
JP here for TryHydrateHeroes.com. That's our new website where you can get a free 3-pack of the great Hydrate Heroes Electrolyte Hydration Drink, all for free. Just go to TryHydrateHeroes.com. We'll send you a 3-pack. While you're there, go ahead and buy the 30-pack for just $29.99. Special going on, less than $1 a serving for all the good stuff, none of the bad stuff. Folks, a lot of these hydration drinks have tons of sugar, tons of calories. Hydrate Heroes, just 5 calories, and they have all the electrolytes in there, plus other stuff that's going to benefit you. A mushroom blend that will help with inflammation. So much other good stuff in there. None of the bad stuff. It's Hydrate Heroes. Go to TryHydrateHeroes.com and get your free 3-pack. The new Tropical Punch flavor is out, and it is fantastic. They'll send you some. Just go to TryHydrateHeroes.com. Get all the information there. Pick up a 30-pack as well. TryHydrateHeroes.com. All the good stuff, none of the bad stuff. JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA 2-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or trying to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group, because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to GeddesGordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com. or call 813-485-6808.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. Is here as we wrap things up there on a Monday with Nick Geddes from On3 Sports. We got some hockey and basketball to take care of here. Both the games over the weekends were headed towards sweeps, and then the Dallas Mavs absolutely obliterated the Boston Celtics in Game 4 to force a Game 5 back in Boston tonight. I wasn't surprised by that. Were you? The old
Not
gentleman
surprised. I mean, I wanted these series to go longer, clearly, both of them, but in the manner we got it, a 40-point blowout.
Yikes. Another
in the
bad
NBA,
game, unwatchable.
And then what, an 8-1 drubbing in hockey? Like, my good. I mean, I didn't want those. Like, they both
Where the hell
didn't
did that
pique
come from?
They didn't pique my interest because they were both over pretty early. I didn't really want that necessarily, but I have to think that this was just prolonging the inevitable, and that Florida is probably going to pull it out on home ice, if I had to guess. And the same thing will be true for Boston because those two teams are just superior to the opponents they're playing.
Exactly. Connor McDavid got 3 assists, scored once, a 32 assists now, passing the 31 that Oilers great Wayne Gretzky piled up in 1988 en route to the Great One's 4th and final championship. So we'll go back to Game 5 Tuesday, 8 o'clock on ESPN, but it's not going past that. I think both of these teams are like, let's get another home game for the owner here.
Yeah,
you know,
and I think in
put
general,
another 8 to 10 million into the pocket.
Yeah, I think
Have
in
a nice
general,
party.
in regards to the NHL final, I think there's a lot of pride there from a player of McDavid's stature and everything, and Draisaitl, and just a team. You don't want to be swept, especially on your own home ice in front of that crowd. I think there's some pride there that played a role in it, but I think once they get back to Florida, like I said, I don't know if they can keep that energy up.
Yeah, totally agree. And as far as basketball goes, Kyrie back in town in Boston, where he has shot 35% and averaged 14 points a game in the first 2 games at Boston, and just absolutely unmercifully ripped nonstop. Had some interesting things to say. He said, you have to show your respect here, Irving said. I think that's what I struggled with initially, was figuring out how I'm going to be a great player here while winning championships and also leading a team and selflessly joining the Celtics organization, or the cult that they are. He used the C word, the cult. He said, quote, that's what they expect you to do as a player. They expect you to seamlessly buy into the Celtics pride, buy into everything Celtics. And if you don't, then you'll be outed of the cult. He said, I'm one of the people that's on the outs, and he was laughing about it. He said, I'm perfectly fine with that. You know what I mean? I did it to myself. They don't welcome me with the warm embrace. The C word? I mean, I guess you got to face it some way, right? I mean, you play so crappy when you play at Boston. I mean, look what he did the other night. He was unbelievable. But he walks into that Garden and they get into his head. And I guess this is his way of just acknowledging it and pouring it all out, thinking, what else can I do? Can't get worse. Get any worse?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he's speaking a lie, by the way. Like, I don't know if it was necessarily meant to be seen as a shot at the Celtics fans. I think he even had a quote in there that was added where he's like, I did it to myself.
Yeah, that's what he said.
So he's like very aware of it, because Boston is one of those towns where they want you to be all Boston in and true. Like, that's a very prideful town, especially with their sports. Right. And Kyrie clearly just wasn't that at that point in his career, that guy. So it was just a bad fit. And the Celtics they obviously on the other side of that, clearly it worked out for them. It worked out for both parties.
Yeah, he was never going to be a fit in Boston. I mean, he explains that pretty well right there. But, I think it adds a little bit more drama for tonight. So I'm down for that, if for anything, right? All right, anything else we missed this week? Oh, yeah, Belichick outed with his young girlfriend. That was interesting. See that on TMZ Sports.
Up your alley.
Yeah.
Hey, I did have a non-sport, a little non-sports thing, but in my world, this was pretty cool. The Almighty King George Strait played a concert at Texas A&M Kyle Field on Friday night or Saturday night, I believe, one of the two. He set a U.S. stadium record with over 110,000 people at his concert there at Kyle Field. So
how old is he?
He is 72 years old, JP, and he is putting 110,000 asses in seats. And that is just, you can't touch
How much
that.
were those tickets?
I have to imagine each of them were probably at least, like, to sit up top, you're probably looking at 200, 300 a pop at least.
Yeah, I was looking at some Morgan Wallen tickets the other day at Raymond James. $300 for the 300 level.
Yeah.
What the F has happened to
concert tickets are the hardest thing to come by. They really are. And I'm hearing all these rumblings. Casey was letting me know because she's all informed on this. There's all these rumors that Taylor Swift is coming back to Tampa for her next go around. And I remember how hard it was to get tickets for those unless you wanted to spend literally like $1,000 a ticket. Like, I don't know how you can do. At some point, it's just not smart.
I know this whole Live Nation thing has, the antitrust suit against Live Nation and Ticketmaster. Hopefully that will have some effect because they basically have a monopoly on these and control of the tickets.
Right.
So hopefully that will change some things. I don't know. It's just simply supply and demand, but I think it will change some things because of the way they run their business. But man, it's just ridiculous. I mean, it's not even like the middle class can't even afford. So how is $300 for freaking Morgan Wallen tickets?
Yeah,
then that's
people are like gutting their life savings to literally go spend 3 hours inside a stadium.
No, it's not worth it. It's okay. If you don't go, you're going to survive. Once those credit cards get maxed, though, there ain't nowhere else to put it. Yeah, but man, that's a lot. Congrats to George Strait. That's pretty freaking good. All right, good job, Nick. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Don't forget to. If you need to get on Twitter with us, go to the JP Peterson Show. Please like and subscribe on X, Twitter, whatever the hell it is now. And you can also join us on our podcast each and every day at Apple and Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Please like and subscribe there. And our YouTube page, the JP Peterson Show on FanStream Sports. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Michael Kelly will be joining us, USF Athletic Director. So see you then.